So let us discuss about the norma occipitalis. When the skull is studied from the posterior view, it is called as norma occipitalis. And the bones which we see here are from the posterior aspect are the two parietal bones, and this is the occipital bone, and this is the temporal bone. But temporal bone has parts, and this is called as the mastoid part. So mastoid part of the temporal bone. So this is a mastoid part of the temporal bone, right? Mastoid part. So these are the bones, and sutures we see here are this is the posteriormost part of the sagittal suture, and this is the lambdoid suture, and we have this mastoid part is present between the parietal bone, and also this mastoid part is related to the parietal bone and also to the occipital bone. That's why there are two sutures here. The suture between the parietal bone and the mastoid is a parieto-mastoid suture, this one. And the suture between the occipital and the mastoid, this is the occipito-mastoid suture, right? So these are the sutures, and the features we see here are we have most prominent eminence present in the lower part of the norma occipitalis, that is the external occipital protuberance. This rounded protuberance is the external occipital protuberance, and in that again there is a small most prominent part is called as the inion. So actually rounded bulging is the protuberance, in that again sharp pointed projection is the inion. Here this is a landmark or the separation between the head. Above that is the head and below that is the neck region, right? And also there is attachments here, trapezius and the ligamentum nuchae is attached here, right? And here if you see, there is a curved ridges, a pair of curved ridges which goes laterally from the protuberance. Those lines are called as the superior nuchal lines, a pair of superior nuchal lines which arise from here, right? And here the attachments are medially the trapezius attachment and laterally sternocleidomastoid attachment. Below the sternocleidomastoid, the splenius capitis will be attached. I'm using the word attachment, right? That means I'm not taking it as origin or insertion. Actually trapezius originates, whereas sternocleidomastoid and splenius will be inserting, but instead I'm using the word attachment so that it will be easy for you to remember. Trapezius on the medial side, sternocleidomastoid and splenius capitis on the lateral side, right? Just similarly, above a centimeter above this, there is another raised ridge, a pair of raised ridge. They are called as the highest nuchal lines. So the attachments here are on the medial side highest nuchal line, on the lateral side occipital bellies of the occipitofrontalis muscle, right? And now we see a crest here, external occipital crest from the external occipital protuberance towards the foramen magnum, external occipital crest. Here also ligamentum nuchae will be attached, and from the center of this external occipital crest there arises two raised ridges or lines. We call them as the inferior nuchal lines. So these are the superior nuchal lines, these are the inferior nuchal lines, and this area on either side of the crest on both sides are divided by a vertical line into four parts. Suppose if I take the right side of this area, this area is further divided into a vertical line, and the inferior nuchal line also divides them into upper medial, upper lateral, lower medial and lower lateral. The attachments here are, the upper medial attachment is semispinalis capitis, upper lateral attachment is superior oblique, lower medial attachment is rectus capitis posterior minor, whereas lower lateral attachment is the rectus capitis posterior major, right? And now coming to the other feature, there is a mastoid foramen is there, mastoid foramen. So mastoid foramen is present just close to the occipito-mastoid suture, and the structures passing through are the emissary vein and the meningeal branch of occipital artery. So these are the structures we see in the norma occipitalis.